What is going on, Coach Launch crew? How do you know if you're a part of the Coach Launch crew? You're a brand new coach and you swing by here for help. We are going to dive a little bit deeper into how to tell if you have a messaging problem or if you have an engagement problem if you aren't enrolling new clients. And before we do that, I'm going to jump into the group and the Coach Launcher group. If you aren't in there, get in there. I'm going to share this into there. If you are in there, welcome. Glad to see you. If you can hear me, let me know. Just say, hey, Bradley, I can hear you. And if you would do us a favor, just tap like or something so that other people will go, oh, I got a notification. There's something important going on. So let me just share this right into the group real quick. Get in there if you want. And yes, then right from there, we will dive in. So this is for Victor, all right? Victor Granville. You asked a really great question, Victor, so I definitely want to jam on this with you. Artie, what's going on, brother? How are you, man? Good to see you. You're starting to kill it, man. You are starting to kill it. I love it. So, okay, got a few people here. Kwan, how are you? Good to see you. Congratulations, Kwan, to your father on his new gig. That's really awesome. That's fantastic. I know somebody, a friend of mine, has directed one of those episodes. So good for him. That's really exciting. Unless I totally misunderstood that whole thing wrong. There we go. So you're absolutely welcome. So how do you know if you've got a problem with engagement or with your messaging if you aren't enrolling new clients? So let's do some defining, because Quan asked a good question. He said, Bradley, your post resonated with me. This is a post where I basically said, if your messaging is on point, like truly resonating with your potential clients, and you are consistently putting your content out there, but no one's enrolling, you have a breakdown in your engagement. Get that fixed, okay? It's critical. It is absolutely critical. What's going on, Arfan? Did I pronounce your name correctly? I hope so. And so Victor asked this great question. He says, your post resonated with me. I'm wondering what might be happening if messaging is on point, clear, but no online engagement with it, e.g. not booking enrollment calls or getting much interaction on Facebook, Instagram posts, or private messages. Any thoughts would be greatly appreciated. So Victor, this is for you. I'm gonna see if I can tag you in here real quick. Victor Granville. Let's try it here real quick. And then if you have any questions, line them up and hit me with them and we'll dive into them. So let me explain a few things first, okay? Let me explain to you what messaging is all about. Okay, this is what messaging is all about, all right? It's when your messaging is so on point, you're so far inside the head and the heart space of your potential clients, okay, that you're putting into words what they're going through. You're putting into words their experience before they're actually able to do that. Your messaging is on point. I'm going to say it again. When you're able to put into words what your potential client is going through or experiencing before they're actually able to explain it themselves to somebody else. And they read your messaging, they read your content, they read your posts, or they listen to your live and they're like, that's it. That's what I'm dealing with right now. He totally gets me, or she totally gets me. Right? Victor, what's going on, brother? Okay, glad you got my tag. So that's messaging. That's how you know that your messaging is on point. When you're so far inside the head and the heart space of your potential clients that you're able to put into words what they're experiencing, what they're going through before they're actually able to do that. And then they go, oh my gosh, they totally gets me, okay? That's how you know your messaging is on point, okay? Now, let's talk about engagement, all right? Let's talk about engagement. And Victor, I'm answering your question, but I'm doing it live because there's so much more depth to it if I can talk through it. So that's messaging. Your people say, oh, he totally gets me, or she totally gets me. Engagement is a like, a comment, a share, a friend request, a message. This is engagement, okay? Pretty simple. If someone's engaging with your content, they're engaging with you. If they like it, if they share it, if they add it, if they message you, if they comment on it, then that's called engagement, okay? Now, escalated or continued engagement is a conversation, right? This is a conversation where you're asking them really powerful questions so you can gain clarity about where they're at, what their problem might be, what they might be struggling with, what they love about their situation, and what they're dealing with, okay? Continued engagement, escalated engagement, it's a conversation where you're asking really, really powerful questions because you want to find out what is this person dealing with? Where are they in life right now? What are they going through? What are their struggles? What specifically do they actually like about their situation? Because you want to get clarity on what might be holding them back from where they want to go. This does three things for us, okay? This conversation, this escalated engagement, this continued conversation. One, it helps you gaining that clarity and asking those questions. It helps them gain clarity. They will say things to you like, no one's ever asked me that before. I've never even thought about that before. But now that I think about it, X, Y, and Z is what I think I'm really struggling with, right? That's the first thing it does. It helps them gain clarity. What a service. What an absolute service that is to somebody. When you can show up and ask really powerful questions in escalated engagement and continued conversation, and they gain clarity from it, like, great job. You're serving humanity, right? The second thing it does is it helps you determine if you could possibly help them discover their solution to their problem, right? So the first thing it does is it helps them gain clarity. The second thing it does is it helps you determine if you could possibly help them further. And the third thing, both to your mom, thank you for those likes. The third thing it does is it builds trust. You're building trust because you're asking really powerful questions. You're serving them with clarity. You're figuring out if you can help them. Trust gets built, right? Now, that's escalated or continued engagement. It's a conversation. And then maximum engagement. Maximum engagement, that's when you get on the phone with them. You've built enough trust, you've asked them enough questions that you literally get on the phone with them because you really might be able to help them. And now you need to have a conversation to really determine, one, can you help them? Two, are they better off with your help or are they better off without it? And three, do you want to work with this person? It's always an important question, right? So now that I've defined what messaging is, right? I've defined what engagement is. I've defined what escalated engagement is, or conversation, and I've defined what maximum engagement is, which is getting off the phone or getting on the phone with a person. Then let me tell you how to determine if your problem of not enrolling new clients is a messaging problem or it's an engagement problem, okay? If you have any questions, drop them in here. Victor, are you with me so far? Okay, is this making sense for everybody? Let me know if this is making sense, because honestly, I'm talking about a mile a minute, but I get excited about sharing this stuff with people. It's critical. It's critical. Okay, if this makes sense, just drop a message. Yeah, it makes sense. Let me know. So, how do you determine if your messaging is off or if your engagement is off? Well, one, if your messaging, if your content, okay, if it isn't instigating engagement, that's a like, a share, a comment, a message, then your messaging, in fact, is not resonating with people. If people aren't engaging your content, either in a group or on your personal profile, then it's not resonating with them. If they aren't liking it, if they aren't saying, oh, totally get that, or oh, you nailed it, or thanks for this, I really needed to hear this today, then your messaging isn't resonating. It just isn't. You don't get to determine if your messaging and your content is resonating. You don't get to determine that. Your potential client determines that for you by actually engaging. That's how we know. That's how we know that it's resonating, okay? That's it. Does that make sense? So you know that your messaging is off if people aren't liking, commenting, sharing, messaging you because of your content, because of your posts, right? Now, if your messaging isn't working, if your messaging is off, then you must do the work. This is the foundational work we do in Coach Launch. You must do the work of getting inside the head space, getting inside the heart space of your potential clients, understanding I always list off these 3 or 4 things, but there's probably 12 to 20 things that we dive deep into. But like, what keeps them up at night? What are they daydreaming about when they're staring out the window at work? What do they complain about with the people that they trust the most? If you don't do that work, your messaging will never resonate. Now, if your messaging is resonating, if people are engaging and they're liking and they're commenting and they're sharing, and maybe they're even messaging you, but you're not enrolling clients, and you have a breakdown in your engagement, your escalated engagement, or in your maximum engagement, right? Either in the conversations you're having or the phone calls you're having, you're off. Now, let me tell you what that could look like, okay? It could look like if you go into a group and you just post, hey, I help people with these problems, you should hire me. Technical foul. Get out. That's not helpful. No one cares. You haven't done anything yet to show that you care for that potential client. So why should they care about what you do? Why should they care? They won't. People don't care about you. People don't care about you until they discover that you actually care about them. And you do that by doing the work of getting inside their head and heart and offering up a ton of free, great content and messaging and posts. Does this make sense? If you message people, if this is your conversation, sending someone a message either on Instagram or on Facebook saying, hey, I noticed that you are doing X, Y. I noticed you're in the fitness group. I can help you lose weight. I'm a fitness coach. That's like a quintuple technical foul, right? Get out. Let me paint a picture. That would be like walking down the street with a bullhorn, yelling at people, saying, hey, you should hire me to lose weight. You should hire me to lose weight. This is what people always say. Oh, they're one of those. You don't want people to say that about you. You don't want people to say, oh, she's one of those, right? Get off your bullhorn. Put it down. Be natural. Be yourself. Help people. Show up and serve people. Get your messaging straight because you've done the long, hard work. It's actually not long, but it's hard work of getting inside their head and their heart space, right? And then putting together your content and your posts in such a way that it's actually helpful to people and they go, she totally gets me. That's exactly what I'm going through. I wish I would have been able to put words to that like she did. Because the next question in their head is, I wonder if she can help me. It's just how it works, right? So put down your bullhorn. Stop telling people what you do. I help people do, there's a time and a place for that, right? But just get into conversation. Let your messaging do the initial resonation work. Then let your escalated engagement and conversations turn into phone calls and turn into long-term transformation because someone hired you to work with you as their coach. Does that make sense? Quan, I'm super selective about the clients I take on. Anybody else got any questions? Victor, I hope that was helpful for you. If you have any other questions, man, I am here. I will be here for a couple minutes. Let me know. I'll be happy to answer them. There is some silence. I know there's a little bit of lag because I'm broadcasting from my business page. If you haven't liked my business page, like it. I share stuff there too. You might find it extremely helpful. Anybody? Victor, I hope you find this helpful. If you have another question, let me know. And if no one else has a question, I'm going to call it. It's 5:14, and I'm going to sign off. And we're going to watch a movie. It's movie night at the Grinnen household tonight. Faux shizzle. All right. Matt, you made it. Yeah, Victor, I rarely do a call to action on any post. I know, people say you got to do a call to action all the time. I engage so well in conversation that I don't need to make calls to action. You'll see me do it in here maybe once or twice a month. That's not very much. I rarely do it. I think I did it once in December on my personal profile. Listen, there's nothing wrong with doing a call to action, but you don't need them if you're actually in conversation, actively in conversation with people. And will they fatigue? Yeah. And then it's also this thing where like you have a call to action, no one likes it, no one engages with it, and then everyone who sees it, they're like, I guess that's a reflection of him. People aren't interested. Wonder what he's doing wrong. It's just, it doesn't mean you're doing something wrong. It's just the way people think. Does that make sense? I like to do subtle call to actions, like a question. What's one thing you could change today? Something like that. People don't like to answer questions either on posts. Some people do, I guess, but there's so much pride and so much ego in social media. That's a whole nother live that people actually stop themselves from engaging. It's why we have to do the work to engage with them. We have to say, hey, thanks for connecting. Really appreciate it. What do you do? We have to have those conversations, and they can't be leading conversations. You have to lead because you're a leader, but you have to actually care about people, which I'm sure you do, Victor. I don't question that at all. Do you recommend a broadcast from personal page to determine if that messaging? Yeah, Arfan, because no one is going to hear you from your business page. The reason why people won't hear you from your business page is because unless you're paying for it, you will get zero reach. You can have 40,000 people and very few of them following or liking your page. Very few of them are going to see. Very few of them are going to be reached at all, because that's how Facebook makes money. So if you do it from your personal page, Facebook will reward you for that, because if your messaging resonates with people, Facebook loves it. People start liking and sharing it, and Facebook's like, oh, there's something good going on over here. Let's spread it to all of their friends too. Should we be following up with clients who say they're going to sign up but don't? I do that, Quan. I do that sometimes. It depends on where you're at, okay? It really does depend on where you're at. I will follow up with people. I like to give people a second chance and sometimes a third chance. And then at some point I just say, you're not ready, and I tell them. And it's okay. Like, I'm grateful that they didn't join, because it reveals something to me about where they're at. They're just not at the place where they want it bad enough. Those who are on my personal page rather than the handful who are on my business page. Yeah, personal page all the way are fun. Personal page all the way. Victor says it makes sense. Awesome. I'm glad. Awesome. Any other questions? That's a great question, Quan. That's a great question, Rafan. Matt, you missed a lot, but it's okay, man. I'll leave the replay up for you, brother. You're killing it with your posts, man. You're killing it with your posts. It looks like you are anyways. You're getting engagement. Make sure you turn that turn that engagement into continued engagement, escalated engagement, then into maximum engagement. Get on the phone. Just care about people, Matt. I like to find out what's going on, so I like to ask really powerful questions to people. And at the point where the question is so personal that they may not want to share their answer in a comment, I take it to Messenger. Perfect. And again, Messenger conversation, escalated engagement, that conversation, it isn't, hey, I see that you're tired all the time from all your pictures. I can help you with that. That's not it. Or just saying, hey, I'm a coach and I help people do X, Y, and Z. That's not it either. It's asking questions so that you can gain clarity about what someone's dealing with, what they're going through. And in turn, they gain clarity. So you totally are serving them. You're building trust, and then you're able to determine, can I help this person? Is it worth that maximum engagement? Is it worth getting on the phone with them to find out? And listen, anytime we get a question anytime someone messages us and says, hey, I do X, Y, and Z, I can help you. If that's the first thing they're saying to us, we're out. I check out. It's like having a bullhorn on the corner. You don't want to be one of those people. Everyone avoids them, and they're like, what the hell is this guy doing on the corner with a bullhorn? Don't do that. Someone on a bullhorn on the corner is selling something. They want you to buy something. And it may not just be buy. It could be buy into a philosophy, buy into that whatever you're doing, you're wrong. Hang up the messenger. Yeah. It's important that the conversations you're having, you are naturally you. And it's important that you care. If you don't care about other people, I assume you do, Matt. But if you don't care about people, it will show. People will know, right? They just will. And I've been doing this long enough. People know I care because I don't roll into a conversation. It's like walking into a bar and walking up to somebody and being like, hey, you know what? You look like you're a person that could use insurance. I sell insurance. You should buy insurance from me. Trust me, I'm the best. It's like, if that guy walks up to me, I'm walking out of the bar, or I'm just putting my hand up in their face, probably at this point I'm saying, hey, let me know if you would like help with how to do that really effectively. Art, right? Someone's going to get you to 50. I can get you to 50K a month. I'm curious how many questions she asked you, and how much time she took to understand you and where you're at and what you're doing. I'm curious about that. It's because these are the things we have to do. We have to really, can you imagine just walking into a doctor's office and the doctor just walks out and says, here, pay me and I'll give you a prescription. No, my doctor asked me all kinds of questions. How are you sleeping? What are you eating? Let's do some blood work. I mean, that's some deep dive question, doing some blood work, right? They're going to find out. We're going to get massive clarity on what all of my levels are, how I'm chemically balanced or chemically imbalanced, right? That's some good, deep work. But if my doctor just came out and said, take these pills, pay me more, and I'll help you live longer. Goodbye. 2 or 3 irrelevant questions. I saw it coming. Yeah, Artie, listen, this is beautiful that you went through that, because it's like, you know what not to do. You know exactly what not to do. All right, any other questions? If not, it's movie time. It's movie time. What's everybody else doing tonight? Matt, aren't you getting ready to go on a backpacking trip or something like that? Did I see that right? You sold your Jeep? I'm pretty sure I saw that right. You sold your Jeep, but I'm not sure if it's you're going backpacking or what you're doing. Okay. You're all awesome. Kwan says, how would you approach a client who wants to be coached to overcome fear, but their fear is stopping them from making the investment in coaching? I'd have a conversation with them where I'm walking them through. I want to show them in their own mind's eye, what would life be like if you dealt with this? What is the cost of staying where you're at? What is it worth to make the changes to get past the fear? If you can help them see it and feel it, then help remove the barriers that they continually put up for themselves. And it's an art, right? And a science. But there's a nuance to it where you help them remove those barriers that they put up once they know what it's costing them to stay where they're at, when they see what it's worth, and when they can begin to imagine what life would be like. And then I've clearly, if I can't help them, I've clearly shown them how I would be able to help them to get past there. But you can't move people. They've got to move themselves. Enjoy Europe, man. Let me know if you'll be checking in on the Facebooks and the social medias while you're out there. All right, everybody. Great question, Kwan. It's a really good question. Have a great night, and we'll catch you later. Drop any and every question you have in here. Peace.